Another week, another trading cycles video. It's week 17, 2024. My name is Urmas and I'm here to give you an overview of what has happened last week on the financial markets and what to expect this coming week. Now, before we do, you are free to smash that like button as well if you like this content, and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. That will help you to receive new videos as soon as I post them. Now I also need to remind you that this content is provided for educational purposes only, so you need to do your own due diligence before you make any decisions, and always trade the price, not the prediction. So what has happened then last week? We had quite busy week and markets were already, yeah, so obviously it fell off the cliff a bit last week, and the reason being is still that obviously market is quite, how should I put it, and well, it's not really reasonable, because we started with expectation this year that we will have 6 rate cuts, and now we have gone to none basically, and obviously the market doesn't really like it, although it should have been already priced in. But yeah, these are the cycles that are playing out at the moment, so we will look into those a bit later. There were some news about the electric vehicle market as well. We will cover that as well. So and also housing market, a bit about that as well. So let's have a look here. So hedge funds are now obviously recommending traders to hold more liquid assets, not to be stopped out there, because markets are quite volatile, so you need to size your positions accordingly, not to risk too much, and possibly hedging as they do themselves is obviously something you can limit your risks, but about that obviously that's another topic already. And also, what I did kind of catch there, it was JP Morgan who warned that stars may be aligned for repeat of last August stocks sell-off. And well, why it is important, obviously, JP Morgan himself was the person who quoted a while back that millionaires don't use astrologers, billionaires do. Okay, so that's why it did catch my eye, that they are still using those phrases kind of. But yeah, obviously we are going through that correction phase already, and about how long it's gonna last, I'm gonna cover that as well soon. Now pension funds are pulling obviously hundreds of billions from stocks, and that's something we did cover as well a couple of weeks ago, or even more, I can't remember now, but yeah, that was quite clear that they are gonna rebalance, and that is the reason also why stocks are selling off, because they're pulling money out of those growth stocks at the moment, and about the mortgage rates in US, the 30-year fixed rate is now basically climbing back a bit. It's not as high it was back in was it October, November time probably last year, but it's still quite high, 7.1%. So and it's 30-year fixed rate. So yeah, obviously in Europe we have sometimes even higher rates here, but obviously it's quite high for US market as well, to fix it at least. But you'll never know, because the cycles are still pointing to probably more inflation and more rates there at some point in the next years to come. So maybe it is a good idea still. But yeah, obviously I'm not your financial advisor, so you do need to speak with your specialist there. Now Tesla did slash some prices again on their key models, so Model 3 and Y. Did see second price cut this month, and there were some other news as well in regards. So basically, Elon Musk has obviously laid out that they are planning to lay off over 10% of their workforce, And also Tesla truck recall has been in news because they're recalling all 3,878 or whatever the number is right now Cybertrucks because of the accelerator pedal issue there. It is tending to accelerate on its own, yeah, so it's not really a convenient way to drive, yeah. It might be quite dangerous. And also Musk's pay package is back on the table, so it's going to be discussed on the next stockholder meeting. And also they are obviously putting on the table of moving its incorporation away from Delaware as well. And that shareholder meeting should take place in June, I believe, yeah, 13th of June, somewhere there. Okay, now in regards to those the market share of Tesla, obviously it's been stable now for past 2-3 quarters, yeah, staying just around 50%, 51% of the whole electric car market. It used to be quite a lot higher, but yeah, now they are losing a bit ground, and obviously the market is declining as a whole, yeah, so it's not really going well for Tesla at the moment, and they are announcing their earnings tomorrow on Tuesday, so it's obviously something we need to keep a close eye on it, but it might go even more to the negative side. We'll see how it's going to play out then. Now, in regards to Netflix earnings, what we saw last week, that was quite interesting one. So basically they're doing new records in regards their subscriber obviously numbers there. It has reached now 269.6 million. However, they did announce that they are stopping reporting those quarterly membership numbers next year. So basically that did scare the markets off, because it kind of seems that they have reached the top now, and they're scared to obviously announce those numbers. Now, well, it might be the case or it might not be the case, but it wasn't a good idea, as we saw from the price reaction. Obviously market will tend to forget those things at some point, yeah, but at the moment, yes, it did move to the price to the negative territory, yeah, indeed. And otherwise, yeah, the numbers were really good. Company is quite profitable, and yeah, everything else is quite stable. But yeah, maybe they are reaching the top there with their subscription numbers, and maybe that's the reason why they decided to announce it like that. Now, DSM has had very good quarter as well, so their numbers have been exceeding expectations as well, and yeah, obviously AI chip demand is very high, so they are obviously benefiting very highly of that. Johnson & Johnson did report also earnings, and they did miss expectations, and there were quite disappointing sales numbers. Now the stock did fall quite a bit there, yeah, and American Express did announce as well, so their Q1 earnings were quite good, $3.33 dollars per share, exceeding expectations, which was 2.96. Yeah, so yeah, they are doing really well, and in that area there's nothing really to worry, because they have quite good moat as well in that market space. Now, bank earnings did come out as well, but we'll cover that in a minute. So basically here is a quick overview of what earnings expectations were, and obviously Nvidia was the biggest player here, and Tesla and Apple are the weakest ones, and we have seen it obviously on the price action there as well. So these are the main ones who have been falling or quite a bit already. Rest of them are holding quite strong still, except yeah, I think we will cover it quite soon. So basically a couple of them are starting to show some weakness now. Okay. Now, in regards to bank earnings, Goldman Sachs did announce as well, and their Q1 earnings were beating expectations. Morgan Stanley did exceed analyst expectations as well, both on profit and revenue for Q1. Bank of America didn't do so well, and profit did decline by 18%. And Bank of New York did do quite well as well. Here are the biggest banks in US, and we can see from here that Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and then Charles Schwab, and also Citigroup are the weakest ones here, and the strongest ones have been JP Morgan, then also Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. All right. Now, in other news, what we have seen this week, so next generation robot, the Boston Dynamics Atlas has come out, and it's quite interesting robot, humanoid as it is, but it's fully electric now, and it's very flexible as well. So if you haven't seen already, then please look up the demonstration video somewhere online. It's quite interesting how flexible it is and how well it can maneuver still. Now, Salesforce CRM has now obviously been dropping quite a bit because they are looking to acquire Informatica, symbol is INFA, and they both fell quite a bit for some reason. I'm not sure what's actually behind it, but it is the largest Salesforce acquisition now since Slack was acquired in 2021. Now, Peloton has removed their free tier from their plans, and that did kind of scare markets off as well. So the stock fell over 6% following the announcement, and they don't have any free membership tiers anymore in their fitness app. Adobe is adding AI tools to their Premiere Pro video editing platform, and basically what it means that it's kind of integrating third-party AI models potentially to the system as well. So hopefully you'll be able to soon then use AI tools to generate videos or even, I don't know, shorts or something like that using AI tools there. Telegram has been growing quite a bit as well, so that's another messaging app reaching now 1 billion monthly active users, which is quite a high number, yeah? And United Airlines did pop as well, so prices did go up around 17% on Wednesday after they did rise their Q2 earning forecasts. So, and also Alaska Airlines did the same, basically. Not as much, but they did lose some money in Q1, but Q2 expectations are quite positive. So we do expect quite good summer for airline industry. So something to keep an eye on, obviously. So the people are still traveling quite a bit now by their expectations. Good. Let's proceed to the charts then. Now, as usual, if you compare Russell 1000 and Russell 2000, so mid cap and small cap stocks, then this has been quite stable. So they are quite going hand by hand there. Both have been falling now the last week. But from the growth and value balance, it did start tilting more to the value side now, yeah. So basically, growth stocks did lose a bit more than value stocks, yeah. And now, if you look at our forecast for the last week, then this one was a bit more optimistic than the market did play out. So if it's now compared here, then yes, the market did go to the opposite direction if you look at it this way. But those turning points were still quite accurate, yeah. Can't really complain, but yeah, it was a bit misleading there indeed. So it's a bit hard to read still. Now, if you look at the 50-day moving average, then that has now gone to the green zone. Basically, it did drop even below 30% area, but it closed just above. And if you look at the 200-day moving average for the S&P 500 stocks, then around 67% of them are now still above 200-day moving average. So it is starting to decline. And if we see the correction obviously taking even longer, then it should correct to the lower side as well. Yeah, usually it tends to go from side to side. Yeah, but we'll see how long it's going to last. And it might not happen like that. But another sign that obviously does point to the further corrections as well is the volatility index, and it did break out from that trend line here, and it did close obviously above it as well. It's inverted at the moment, kind of, but yeah, it's basically now was a bit higher, and we do expect that this trend might continue. So we should see more volatility on the market as well in the next coming weeks. If we look at the technical setup of S&P 500, then yes, it's been all red now, so it's on the sale side now. There are some numbers to bear in mind. Obviously, it's all algo based nowadays, and if algos see that selling pressure continues, then the next levels to watch out are basically around 4,880 to 4,850, this area. If that's going to be broken, then we will expect quite a lot of more selling coming into the market, because algos, they are quite irrational. They just go with the market, whatever the price says. All right. And if you look at the weekly chart of S&P 500, then yeah, we did see that resistance forming there for a couple of weeks now, and now there is a bit of support again. Yeah, so it's kind of starting to channel. So we'll see how it's going to play out, but at the moment, yes, it is getting some support already. So maybe we will bounce back a bit from that heavy sale last week. Now, if you look at the bigger picture here, so basically what I have in mind is that we might be seeing that longer term head and shoulders here forming. Yeah, so basically we did see that top, the left shoulder there back in August, I believe, yeah, last year. Then it did correct, then we did have that strong rally. Now we have head here, and it started to decline. So we might see that decline up until the end of May, and if it bounces back, then we should see a rally again up until August, possibly August, September, somewhere there. And then if that's going to be forming, and we will see probably in September some sell-offs again, so then that might mean that we are in that head and shoulders pattern, although it is upward pointing one, so it's not that strong indicator, but still we might see some heavy sell-offs then if it goes below that neckline here, then yeah. But this is just well, my idea at the moment, but yeah, we'll see how it's going to play out. Obviously, first we need to touch that neckline here, and then possibly form another shoulder here. Okay. Russell 2000 technically is also very negative, but it is now touching that support here, so we might expect some bounce back still before it might go even lower. Yeah. And sector performance wise, we are now looking into those safe haven ones, which are utilities and consumer defensive ones. They were the best ones last week, and technology was the worst performer overall, and you can see it from the heat map as well. Yeah, that sector was all red. All right, but also communication didn't do so well. Yeah. Now, if you look at the losers and winners here, then yeah, obviously airlines did do quite well, and there was some couple of more other ones, but obviously technology was on the red, I should say, and also semiconductor stocks, some of them didn't do so well. Okay, and if you look at the insider trading activity, then that has kind of fallen off here. Obviously, that was quite good leading indicator from beginning of March already, that insiders were selling off quite a bit, and that started back in February actually. Yeah, so that also indicates that they do know a bit better than average shareholder does. Yeah, so basically they were selling off just prior to that actual market correction. Yeah, so it tends to be a good idea to follow their action as well. That's why we are doing it. And fear and greed index has fallen now to fear zone. It's on 31 points at the moment. Obviously we can see that a year ago we didn't have that sort of panic, so every year tends to be a bit different, so that's why those seasonal patterns are not always correct, but they are still good indicator still, yeah, but we need to take into account some other cycles as well that are in play. Now, crypto fear and greed index is still in greed zone, and obviously we have seen a bit of weakness there on Bitcoin price, but I believe that we are still looking to get some more upside there. We are just in the beginning of that new cycle, and that's just a normal meat cycle breeding zone there where we are at the moment. So, and we also had that halving taking place over this past weekend. So basically it tends to go higher after that halving, but not straight away, so there are usually some breather times as well, but we do expect the market still to go higher indeed. Now, S&P seasonal, yeah, as I said, we are in that correction phase now basically, and after that we should see quite a bit of strength as well, seasonally as well. So these are a couple of things to bear in mind. If they do line up with other cycles as well, then the tendency tends to be to that side indeed, yeah, and quite strongly. And if you look at best median returns for S&P 500, then first half of May has been quite bad performance-wise. The best 2 weeks time has been obviously first half of July, yeah, so that's something to still look for, yeah, and obviously there are some other dates as well. So second half of May hasn't been, well, it's kind of in the middle there, yeah, so we'll see how it's going to play out, but yeah, at the moment we are heading to that point where it hasn't been very strong, yeah. So we'll see how it's going to play out, although yes, the second half of April has been quite strong statistically, but still we have seen quite a lot of weakness now. And statistically, yeah, and the first part of the April was very strong, but now it's getting more red here, yeah, so it's going to the downside still. And astrological tendencies here, what we can see, we will have full moon on Wednesday, so that's important. Sometimes, yeah, we will get some volatility there probably, yeah. And also Mercury is turning direct on Thursday, another sign of great volatility coming to the market, yeah. So I do expect quite a bit of action there this week, as well, big technology stocks are obviously announcing their earnings, and that's about 30, maybe 40% of market cap of the whole S&P 500 announcing earnings this week. So it's a very heavy week in that sense, and we will get some volatility indeed. Okay, and also we will get some more fire there coming up into play astrologically. So basically from May on, Mars will go to Aries, and although we have now had Venus and Mercury in Aries, so there's quite a lot of fire energy, and that tends to bring more volatility to the markets as well indeed. And black box model is pointing to the downside as well here, yeah, so it's going kind of lower and lower here. Now, what to expect from the new week? Then basically there will be quite a lot of earning announcements, as I said just a moment ago. So there will be obviously technology, telecommunication, healthcare and energy stocks announcing. Tesla is the first one, I believe, to keep an eye on. That's on Tuesday, tomorrow. And then we will have a Meta, Microsoft, and also Alphabet, Google's parent, and Intel will announce their financials as well. And also telecom giants like Verizon, AT&T, Comcast and T-Mobile are scheduled to report, and the energy sector will see ExxonMobil and Chevron reporting on Friday. So yeah, it's gonna be packed week indeed, and we will see PCE numbers as well coming out. So basically that is an indication basically for Fed's next meeting, which will take place on the 30th and 1st of May, where we should see then another decision as well in regards to rates. But as the sentiment stands at the moment, so we do expect that rate to stay untouched. Yeah, so it's not going to fall, it's not going to rise just yet. Yeah, they are still keeping a close eye on it and trying to decide what to do next. And that's obviously what the market thinks, and I do also agree with that, yeah, at the moment. Now, if we look at next week's cyclical prediction here, then this one is still pointing to the downside, but we should see some great volatility here, possibly on Tuesday, on Wednesday and Thursday as well, yeah, so that's gonna be quite busy week. And if you look at the bigger picture here, so this cycle that I have been keeping an eye on now, it did point to the downside, but obviously it did fall through that turning point. And obviously we should look at the longer view here, as the cycle end is pointing actually to the end of May, around 23rd of May at the moment, yeah, okay. So basically, yeah, it might bounce back a bit this week before the May starts, but then it should continue to correct, yeah, okay. So we'll see how it's going to play out, but if you look at the even longer view here, basically those cycles from the past, they do tend to repeat, and that's where I get this head and shoulders idea as well. So that thesis, if it plays out, we should see another shoulder forming there by August-September time, and then usually September is going to be quite weak month anyway. And if it's going to play out like that, then we might not see a good rally this fourth quarter, yeah? As it's going to be election time, and there's so many other things taking place. We might see actually markets falling if that head and shoulders is going to play out, and yes, that is very bearish price action as well. And that 42-month cycle is going to start to roll lower as well next year. So next year is actually quite bearish according to this cycle. So yeah, this is where we stand at the moment. So not really that rosy, but there's always a way. You can always make money even on falling markets, yeah, if you know how to use options or sell short, yeah. So these are also some tools on the table. Not obviously recommending to use them. Please learn them first if you're not familiar with them, and then obviously try to use those things. It's not an advice, but just something to consider. Now let's look at some graphs as well. So basically S&P did see a turning point last Monday, yeah, and that did accelerate that sell-off quite a bit. Now next turning point was on Friday last week, and today the market has been now obviously bouncing back. So from that, the next one coming up is on Thursday, 25th of April. So that's that. And also, yes, with S&P obviously we did have that sell signal in place in the beginning of the month, and that has been very accurate as well, yeah. So that's been playing out as expected. Now if you look at that channel as well, so that's something that I have shown here sometimes, yeah, some time ago. It did break through that lowest level there on the 10th of April, and then it did bounce back to that, and it did find resistance on that trend line, and after that the sell-off began, yeah. So it was quite good indication actually. Those upward channels tend to be quite bearish, and also downward channels tend to be bullish, yeah, so that's something to bear in mind as well. Okay, if you look at gold market, then yeah, gold has been very strong here, obviously from the previous turning point, which was on the 11th, until the last one, which was on Thursday, 18th. The market did move sideways, and now there was another turning point on Thursday, yeah. So basically it might be about the day off, I suspect here, yeah, because the actual turning was on Friday here. So that was another top, and today the market has been declining. Now the support might be here at 20-day moving average at 2,311, or if not, the next one is coming up here at 2,150, somewhere there, yeah. Okay. So we'll see how it's going to play out, but the next turning point for gold market will be on 26th of April. If you look at crude oil, then yeah, that has been now declining since the last turning point, which was on the 12th, and the next one coming up is on the 25th, which is Thursday this week. And Bitcoin, what's Bitcoin been doing? It has been correcting, yes, so it did kind of move sideways and was quite weak during past couple of weeks. Now we did reach another turning point today, so it is showing a bit of strength here, so we might see this market now starting to head up again. Yeah, so there are some resistance levels obviously coming up. If those are going to be broken, so the main one to consider is 73,900, and at the moment there is a resistance at 70,000 as well. Yeah, so that these are the levels to keep an eye on. Okay, and yeah, that's about it. Let's look at a couple of companies here as well that's gonna announce earnings this week. Yes, so Apple is one of them. Obviously Apple price chart is all red. Yeah, there's nothing really positive so far. Today it has now bounced back a bit, but not too much, and there are so many news about Apple as well, so they're not really good news so far. Although what I would like to point out is that their services revenue growth have been very stable, so we'll see how it's going to continue. So we will see the truth this coming week, but yeah, it's one of the things that keeps them afloat as well, yeah, and it keeps rising, so obviously not to underestimate it, and they are looking to build more and more AI tools into their ecosystem as well, so we'll see and hear more news about it as well. Now, if we look at Amazon price action here, then Amazon has shown some weakness now, yeah, and we did see first red bar appearing here last Friday, which might be a reason to worry at the moment, but I do suspect that this support will hold for the time being, and then it might bounce back, maybe even up to that resistance level, but we'll see how it's going to play out. But yeah, possibly in May it will see more selling pressure coming in. With Amazon, there's also something to bear in mind. Obviously, their AWS line and also Seller Central are the main areas of money machines there, but they do make quite a lot of money on advertising as well, which is something not to underestimate. So this has been growing from quarter to quarter quite heavily, and it has been, well, quite tripled, I think, in the past 3 years. So basically it's standing at 14.7 billion at the moment of the revenue for the past quarter. So we'll see how it's gonna affect the results this month or this time, yeah, this week, but something to keep an eye on as well. Now Google is announcing as well, and they are obviously known for their Google search, but they're also making quite a lot of money with YouTube. But surprisingly, they are growing now their cloud business, and it's been profitable for the past 4 quarters now. It's growing, yeah. So quite an interesting one to keep an eye on as well. So yeah, that's all good, going to the right direction. So Google is very strong company, and should perform good in the future as well. About Meta is obviously doing very well as well, although in recent times they have had some issues because Apple had to remove, for example, their WhatsApp and Threads from their Chinese app store because of the Beijing's concerns about security or whatever the reason is there. Yeah. So basically that's not good for Meta, I would say. They're losing a bit of user base there, but still WhatsApp has been their best platform now since they bought it, yeah, in 2014. They have around 2 billion active users worldwide there, and also their Instagram and Facebook Blue. These are the ones to make money for Apple, and obviously it is marketing company, or they are obviously making money on advertisement. So basically, we do expect their revenues to grow as well, because it's an election year and there will be quite a lot of money spent on their platforms as well, I would suspect. Microsoft, if you look at that one, then obviously they have been doing very well as well with their Office suite and Azure, and LinkedIn also is making quite a lot of money for them. Now technically the stock has been quite negative, so last week it did lose quite a bit of money there, but and it's all red now, yeah. So basically all in the sell zone from Friday on. Yeah, we did get the final confirmation here. So we'll see if it's going to bounce back a bit and then continue declining there. Yeah, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. If they're not going to surprise with their earnings massively, yeah, I do suspect that they have some good news coming up there, but we'll see how it's going to play out. Now Netflix, we did cover already, so they did drop quite a bit after their earnings announcement, and it's also in red now. And what else we had here? So Tesla is also no, Nvidia. Let's go to Nvidia as well. Yeah, so before we finalize with Tesla, so Nvidia did obviously go into the red as well. So as I said earlier, my stop was at 841, yeah, and that obviously did break here earlier, and it did bounce back a bit to the resistance, and then it start declining again. Now same story. I do suspect that it will bounce back a bit, but then continues to the lower side. And Tesla is dropping now even further. Yeah, it's falling like Boeing's planes, but well, not well. Yeah. Anyway, it's yeah, not doing great. So considering everything. So basically, we will expect that there will be some surprises. Now, obviously, Elon Musk can surprise either way. He's quite unpredictable sometimes. So we'll see how it's going to play out. But at the moment, the next support is standing at around 126. Yeah, so it's quite far away still. So something to keep an eye on. And also PayPal. PayPal did see some strength a couple of weeks ago, but it has been losing now back again. So it's still, well, it went back to the red zone again, and yeah, it's not still strong enough for me to get engaged just yet. Yeah, I need to see some more strength there until I start making my decisions. I still keep an eye on that 68.20 level there, yeah, because that's where the resistance ends, and if it breaks out of that, then yeah, we should see prices moving higher. But so far it hasn't happened. Alright, that's about it. I will thank you that you stayed with me until the end here, and also if you do like this content, then I do need to ask you to like this video and also share it with others as well, and do subscribe as well. Then you will get my new videos as soon as I post them, so that's much appreciated. Have a lovely week, and happy trading there as well. See you next week.